When Chris Bassitt was brought in this past off-season, he had a few important tasks. Replace Ross Stripling, become a veteran leader in the rotation, and bring the same level of consistency he has shown throughout his career. And so far, he has had a decent start to his tenure up north with a 7-5 record. However, his ERA is sitting a little above 4, which isn't too eye-popping. Because of this, I decided to do some digging into why he has struggled a bit more this season, and I've come across one split of his that has turned a complete 180 for him this season, and that is his stats versus left-handed batters. Over the course of his career, Bassitt has been labeled as a guy who can get a player out regardless of which side of the plate the batter is on, which is proven by his numbers over the course of his last 3 full seasons. And now, before I reveal to you the unthinkable slash line he's allowing to left-handed batters in 2023, I want you to make a guess in your mind. Maybe the OPS has jumped to 750, or 850, or even 900. Well, if you said any of those figures, you would be pretty far off. Because this year, Bassitt has allowed left-handed batters to hit 285 with a 374 OBP and a slugging percentage of 616 for an OPS of 990. That is a figure that is incomprehensible, especially when you compare it to his stats versus righties, where he's been his normal dominant self. This may be the reason why opposing teams' managers are chucking in every left-handed batter they have, because Bassitt cannot seem to get them out. Take his game against the Baltimore Orioles on June 13th, for example. Their lineup consisted of 6 players who bat from the left side of the box: Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Anthony Santander, Ryan O'Hearn, Aaron Hicks, and Adam Frazier. That's right, their first 4 in the lineup were all lefties. And what did those lefties do against Bassitt? Well, they stranded a man on second base in the first inning, but in the second, Adam Frazier hit a 2-run homer, then in the third, Santander singled and O'Hearn homered. After that, Hicks singled, and Gunnar Henderson hit a grand slam in what would be Bassitt's final inning, finishing the game with 3 innings pitched and 8 earned runs, all of which came via the long ball by 3 different left-handed Orioles batters. And after seeing that the Orioles did all their damage with 3 homers by 3 different lefties, I decided to check out the 15 homers Bassitt has allowed this season and see just how many of them have been to lefties. And the answer is 12. 12 out of 15. That is absurd, especially when you take into account that he surrendered just 11 to lefties and 8 to righties for the entirety of the 2022 season. So why all of a sudden this steep drop against lefties? But before I answer that, you need to understand what type of pitcher Bassitt is depending on who's up at the dish. Unlike versus righties where he uses predominantly the sinker, against lefties he tends to use a cutter to start off the at-bat and then continues to pepper the zone with more cutters and sinkers at about the same rate. So let's take a look at his stats using these 2 pitches. With the sinker, they are right around the same as 2022. But when we look at his stats against the cutter, we can start to uncover a bit of the reason why he's not performing the same way. So far this year, batters are averaging around 40 points more and slugging 100 points more. And it is very easy to see why. Look at these 2 heat maps of his cutter from the past 2 years. As you can see, the one from 22 is much more up and in on left-handed batters than 2023, where it is pretty much right down the middle, which is not the spot Bassitt wants to locate because he would like to use the pitch up and in to induce pop-ups. For Bassitt, fixing his cutter is a crucial part of his game he needs to improve on, in order to lower his ERA, effectiveness versus lefties, and just overall, give the Jays much more of a chance to win each time out, because so far they're just 8-8 in his 16 starts. And now, one last thing before you go, I just want to ask what your opinions are of Chris Bassitt. Are you happy with the signing? And also, were you aware of his splits versus lefties or righties before watching the video? If not, then you are definitely going to want to hit the subscribe button, because I'll be posting in-depth videos all season long just like this one, and you will be able to up your Blue Jays knowledge immensely just by tuning into the channel a few times a week for a couple of minutes. It would also help me out a ton because we're closing in on the 1,000 subscriber milestone. Thank you in advance, and I will see you in the next video.